rebuilding. The catastrophic failure, a new start, physically, mentally, our careers, our businesses. Step back, first step, next step. The driver in me just wants to get it done tomorrow. We'll do this, do that, let's move this, where are we at with this? You build some confidence, build some self-esteem, start to feel better about yourself. The Silverback Blueprint Podcast, a show for men over 40. We focus on getting stronger, staying motivated, building discipline, creating a community, and becoming truly happy. Hey guys, before we get started on today's podcast, I just want to take a minute to let you guys know that our new Work Hard Motherfucker t-shirts are now available at hostilegear.com. Head on over there, use the code Silverback and save 20% and get this badass t-shirt. I know a lot of people have been saying, hey, what a great idea, can't wait to get it. So now it's up there, it's in color, it looks awesome, and make sure to get yours AS to the AP. And now, on to the episode. Hey guys, welcome to episode 81 of the Silverback Blueprint Podcast. Today I just want to talk about some training. I want to talk about some accountability. Every once in a while, I like just talk about physically what we should be doing, what we can be doing, different options and stuff like that. I shouldn't use the word should. I mean, at the end of the day, I want everyone to work out, and part of the rebuilding process is the physical manifestation of our moving heavy objects and building energy and getting tougher physically, which translates and transfers over into the mental, right? So lately, and this is airing sometime in April, I just, back in December, competed and had a goal of going for 600 and fell kind of short on that. Hit the 545 opener, went for 573, and then, Christmas happened. That was the 16th. Christmas happened, got sick. First couple of weeks of January, just, getting the energy back. So at this point, we're recording, this is coming out in April, but at this point, we're coming up to mid-January, January 19th right now. And I'm back into training for about 2 good solid weeks. And it feels good, obviously. Change the training a little bit to get away from the heaviness, just because it was beating me up. And that's what happens when I prep for a meet, for sure. I mean, it's a means to an end. So I get achy. I'm not injured. It's nothing like that at all. That's what guys, Kurt, your age, you're going to be 50. Shouldn't be training that heavy. You're going to get injured. Training stupid is what gets you injured. Making mistakes is what gets you injured. Training smart is how you avoid injury. So it's not that. But it's just the wear and tear, the workload. It's heavy, man, right? One nervous system. So it takes time. It takes a beating. So I'm at a point now where 2 solid weeks of training again, but I've gone back into that bodybuilding and a similar phase that I had done in the summer where more sets and reps, but I'm taking it even to a higher level. I'm doing more because I would do the high volume stuff on Mondays with Phil. Two exercises in a row, 3 supersets, 4 supersets, sometimes, 4 exercises, one right after the other. But the rest of the week I would do the standard 4 sets of 8 and 5 sets of 6 and stuff. Good training, guys. There's nothing wrong with that. But part of it, and this ongoing goal of mine, is to have that 275 body weight. At this meet, I got up to 383, 8 up, wanted to be as strong as I could. Built a lot of muscle this year. The shape I'm carrying now, the thickness through the chest, shoulders, and triceps and traps, I don't think I've ever been this thick. So that's a great side effect from the training. So I know I'm definitely holding probably 5 to 8 more pounds of muscle than I was this time last year with better shape. But I just want to tighten it up. I want to feel better. I want to have the muscle pump, but I just want to, we all have a vision of what we want to do. My idols from back in when I first started was, Arnold, the classic Arnold physique and, just muscular, but not over muscular, but, big, that kind of thing. So I want to get back to that. I want to build a really good pair of arms and great shoulders and triceps. And, my chest is always going to be big from the years of benching, but, a thick back, just that powerful look. And I just changed some of my training. I started following this guy. We're going to put him in the show notes, Seth Ferose. He's out of the States, All-American Roughneck is what he calls himself. Cool story, cool guy. He was a pro bodybuilder and was doing really, really well. He's in his 30s now, so he came on the scene pretty aggressively in his 20s, and winning shows, pounding it out and stuff like that. And the bodybuilder, right? So he's doing what the bodybuilders do at that level and stuff for sure. And then a couple things changed for him personally and stuff, and he made a switch where he's not competitively bodybuilding anymore, but he's still training hard and he's still just getting out there and doing it. But he's actually got a following now, and he's, he puts out good training videos. He's got a cool line of clothing. So there's a lot of things he's doing that I'm working on. And so for me, I'm like, oh man, I like what this guy is doing. So it motivates me and it inspires me to want to keep pushing the Hostile gear and to keep training more and doing my thing, right? So what I like is that he talks a lot about the stuff that got me into training in the beginning. When I first started training, it was the big volume. It was sets of 15 and 20 reps. It was going to failure, taking short rests, hitting set after set, just as he likes to say, drive a shit ton of blood into the muscle, right? And that's where the muscle grows, and that's where, the size happens. But it's also just, you're working hard, you're sweating, and you're making changes. And there's something about that physical attack that just releases, you want to call it the warrior, you want to call it the, just the strongman, and whatever it is, there's something to be said for that. And what I'm liking about it as well is that it's a change from just going heavier all the time. So if you look back in some of the videos I'm posting, one of the other things I started to do now, I'm going into the accountability. And because what I'm trying to do with you guys over 40 is just show you what I'm up to and what I'm working on to help motivate and inspire you guys, I've decided now to start actually record my workouts. Now, I'm not recording the full workout where I turn it on the moment I walk into the gym and I turn it off, 35, 45 minutes later. What I'm doing is, if I'm doing 5 exercises, I record one set of every exercise so you can see what I'm up to and you can see what it looks like. Right. Part of it too is for me to keep an eye on myself. Obviously, I sit there and I'm working hard, but I got the old gutty hanging out and stuff like that. So I want to see that change. So by forcing myself to see that more often, it also makes me more aware when I'm eating, what I'm focusing on. Like anybody else, I'm thick and I'm powerful and I'm strong and I'm proud of that. But, I'm not excited about my gut. Right. No, I don't think anyone would be. Right. So, but what happens is we focus on certain aspects of what we're doing so we don't see that. Right. So the more often we see it, the more it's in our subconscious, the more it's on our radar. Well, all of a sudden you want to start eating better. You want to start focusing better. And that's the other thing that I'm working on too, is that one of the struggles I have obviously is nutrition, eating the wrong foods, eating too much of the foods. Cheat night becomes cheat month. You know what I mean? Just, there's no perfection here. There's just figuring out what I need to work on and then get back to it and focus on it and restart and restart and restart. No one ever quit something, a bad habit, the first time. No one ever started a great habit and mastered it the first time. It just doesn't happen. You have to quit often before you can finally quit something that's negative for you. And you have to start often something that's positive until it really becomes part of who you are and what your nature is and becomes part of your nature. And even at first, when things are going really well, those first 2 weeks, the first month, the first couple of months, you start getting momentum, you're getting leaner, you're getting stronger, things are going well. But I'll tell you right now, that position is precarious, right? It's fragile. It just takes one bad weekend. It just takes one, if your trigger is emotion, it just takes one episode of something, and next thing you know, you're making love to some chocolate cake, right? Or you're pounding back a shit ton of booze, or you're on your 3rd birthday party of the weekend for yourself, right? And next thing you know, it becomes a week and you miss a workout, you miss this, you're tired, and all of a sudden it's a month, you're back off the rail. So all of a sudden, all that progress you may have made in the last 6, 10, 12 weeks, you could lose all that in 4 weeks, especially when you're working from a point where there's a lot to change. So in my case, right, I want to lose, another 75 pounds. I want to get, that 275. I want to get tight. I want to hold that muscle tissue, and I just want to make it look good. I want to fucking finally get to that point where I can take my t-shirt mowing the lawn and be happy to do it, right? And that's something that I've always wanted. That's something that has always been deep down inside me. When we talked about a few episodes ago, when we talked about, how good do you want to be, right? Well, that's part of that's that inner thing for me. I want to be that guy deep down inside. I want to be that guy that's muscular, that's powerful. But if you're playing a sport, you take your shirt off. If you're outside doing work, you take your shirt off and you're proud to do it, right? I'm not saying 6-pack abs, but at the same token, right? I don't want to have that gut hanging over my belt anymore, right? I don't want that kidney fat, right? I'm tired of that, right? And I have been for a long time. It's just that I haven't really sat down and been truly honest with myself and really focused on saying, you know what, no more. And then holding myself accountable to that higher level, that higher expectation for myself, right? And I've done it. I've worked it. I've lost a lot of weight, right? But I haven't stayed there. Something sidetracked me. I let something get in the way. And that's all on me. But the whole point is get back at it, try it again, find a better way to do it. So one of the things I'm doing, obviously, I talked about this podcast. It gives me some accountability. It gives me a platform. It makes me want to focus more on walking the walk as well as talking the talk, right? Because I want to be that person. I want to be as good as I can be. So the key is to set things up around myself so that it constantly reminds me. And I set things up around me that hold me up to a higher level of expectation, a higher standard, right? So that's always, for me, that's that area that I have to repeatedly work on. And I know deep down fundamentally inside that when I finally crack that code, when I finally get to the point where I've made it my mission and I've seen it to the end, I know that's where, for me, some of my highest levels of happiness waits for me. Because that's where I've wanted to be. I've always wanted to be to that level. And I've gotten close and I've worked on it. But then other things happen, right? We talked about clarity of intention. I let other things get in the way. And I have to sit there and hold myself to a much higher level saying, you know what? That's great that I'm busy this week, or that's great that I'm traveling a lot, but fuck you, eat a salad. It's not an excuse anymore, right? If I don't pack the right food and I'm driving to Toronto and I'm starving, and next thing you know, I'm pounding down, 3 muffins and stuff at the gas station, right? That's all on me. I should have prepped some food. I should have had a couple of dishes with me so that when we pull over, I can eat that. That's all there is to it, right? At the end of the day, there's no magic. It's in preparation. It's in being consistent, right? And it's having that courageous patience to know that it's going to take 500 days of eating really good. It's going to take 500 days of training every day. It's going to take 500 days of putting it all together and holding it there, no matter what the cost, no matter what it feels like, no matter how tired I am, it's to hold that point, right? Now I say 500, it could be 300, it could be 180. It's not the point. The point is, though, is you have to realize that to do that, to make that happen, you have to be consistent for so many days in a row. One of the switches I made when I stopped drinking, I just recently put it out on Facebook that I'm 1,200 days sober, is just even, and I've talked about it before, but I talk about the verbiage, the script in my mind, even what I say. So when people offer me a drink, I don't say, oh no, I don't drink anymore. What I say now is I don't drink. Because when I say I don't drink, it's final. It's who I am. It's just, I don't do that, right? I don't have sex with animals. That's just it. I just don't, right? There's no, you can talk me into it on a Friday night because I used to, right? It's just, I don't do that, right? I don't judge. I don't care. But you know what I mean? So the same thing too, when I change that wording, when I change it in my head saying, I don't drink, that made things a lot easier. There was a lot less explanations. There was a lot less wavering. There was a lot less, the scripts in my head that would take off. Yeah, but you used to drink and you used to drink a lot. Now you got to do this. And then you think, and then you just take off on a tangent mentally, right? People that don't know you, if you say, no, I don't drink, they're like, all right, cool. People that do know you, they might have the odd question, oh, well, what's going on? How come you don't used to drink a lot and stuff like that, right? But by then, most of the people who know me, I've been pretty open in the last couple of years about my sobriety, right? It's not even a thing, right? I get the odd assholes like, oh, well, you're still doing that? I'm well, that's right, I'm still doing that. But again, that's far and few between now, right? I just don't drink. So at the end of the day, what I want to get to the point is that I just have in my head that no day goes by that I don't work out. I just do. I work out. That's what I do. It's part of who I am. That's part of what I do every day as part of who I am, right? I eat good, right? One of the dangers I find is when we try to eat better is that we're already thinking, well, I have to have the cheat meal. Yes, the cheat meal happens. And yes, the cheat meal should happen. But if you start day one, meal one with that, oh, I get that cheat meal coming up in 6 days, I think it's, it's a fear thing. It's a, I'll just get through this and I've got this and that carrot in front of me. Well, it's not a carrot. It wouldn't be a cheat meal. But you know what I mean? You've got this thing in front of you that's bribe that you're making with yourself. And I'm like, fuck that. No more bribes, right? You bribe a kid, right? You bribe a child. Hey, if you do this, this will happen. I want to make it saying, listen, this is just what I do, right? And then when a Saturday night does come along and we're going out somewhere, I'm like, yeah, I'll have this tonight. I want to make it matter of fact. I want to make it so that it's just the natural way things are now. And if you look at guys and girls that have made significant changes and have maintained those changes, that's what's happened, I believe. I believe that's what happened. They've made such a permanent switch in their mindset and a permanent switch in the language that they use, in the scripts in their head, in their identity. They've made such a permanent switch that it doesn't even come into question anymore. Now, that's the mental part. The other part is the preparation, right? Really hard to think about eating really clean when you're really hungry because you haven't planned your meals properly, right? So don't put yourself in that position of temptation, right? One of the things we tell people when you want to eat better and you're going to a party and it's not cheat night, have a really clean meal before you go. So that what happens is when you get to that party, you're not even hungry. The moment your blood sugar stabilizes because you're not yo-yoing with the carbs up and down and the blood sugar spiking and the insulin, the moment that stabilizes, and that can happen in as little as 1 to 2 weeks once you start eating better, reducing the carbs, right? Once that happens, it really takes away a lot of the physiological urges, right? That makes a big difference. But you got to put that work in. It's almost like when you're detoxing, right? I was watching Train Spotting the other day. I hadn't seen it in a while, and when the main character, they want to wean him off heroin, and he's in his bed at home, and he's locked in there, and he's going through all kinds of hallucinations and all kinds of crazy shit, and all the garbage is working out of his system, right? Well, it's been said before that some people, say that the addiction to sugar is just as high as narcotics, if not higher sometimes, right? I believe it. I believe it's tough as nails. I said it before. Giving up drinking beer was easier for me than giving up drinking Diet Coke, and I'm still working on that. Right? So at the end of the day, you've got to, if you're going to make those significant changes, you're going to go through some shit. And I think that's I think that's what happens. Either we're afraid of that, or we're not willing to put ourselves through that. Why? Because we haven't made it a big enough why. We haven't had that big mindset switch where, fuck it, I know I'm going to get this shit kicked out of me. I know it's going to be a tough 2 weeks. So just bite your bottom lip and that's it. But let's mitigate how tough it's going to be. Well, we mitigate that by doing things like food prep, having good food in the house only if that's what you have to do. You see some of these diet shows where they go in and they raid the house and they take all the chips out and stuff like that. Well, fuck it. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Now, it might be hard to do that in your house if you have kids and other people that don't have food problems, or do, but they're not willing to change it. I've had many situations where a wife or a husband has told me that, they're trying to make all these changes and their spouse is at night sitting beside them eating potato chips. Well, I think that's a little fucking shitty of the spouse to do that, especially when they know what the other person's doing. But again, sometimes they don't want to see change happen, right? But I've seen that sabotage bullshit happen. It's ridiculous, right? So if that's the case, if I can't have that, then great. But don't come and sit beside me. Don't be an asshole, especially at first, right? But that's a whole different conversation about power and control in a relationship that we're not going to get into today. But at the end of the day, right, mitigate the garbage you're going to have to go through when you want to make this changes. So if it means you take everything out of the house, you take everything in the house. For training, if it means you have to get a training partner, then get a training partner. One of the things we do at the gym that we think is really cool is that because our gym is a large gym, but with few members, you don't get that frustration, that New Year's resolution frustration that when you go to your normal gym, you can't get to the equipment because you got all the New Year's resolution people there. Or you got the dumbasses, the 4 guys on the power rack doing arm curls and taking selfie after selfie, right? So we created a gym that has none of that. So that what's important is that you can get in, get the workout, and get out. Especially at first, when it's taken everything you have to break the cycle of wanting to go home instead of coming to the gym. Once you've got a month or so in, then it becomes automatic. You made some friends, you're making some progress, you feel comfortable. It's easier at that point. And that's the one thing we tell people when they come into the gym is to listen, you just focus on getting to the door and coming down the stairs. Our programs will take care of the rest. So you don't have to worry about it. So put yourself in someone else's hands. Use a coach, use a trainer, right? Have that accountability. I've said it before, we're at episode 81 of the podcast. And one of the reasons we're at episode 81 is because I have Luke from Podcast Wagon as our producer. We have appointments. We schedule it. It's purposeful, right? So it gets done. When I launched in 2013, I did 10 or so episodes by myself, and out of the gate, it was great. But next thing you know, right, something came up. Something got in the way. The clarity of intention wasn't there. So to mitigate this from happening, because I wanted to be very purposeful with the podcast, and I want to see it grow, and I want to keep building the platform, because it's important to me, it's important to my brand, it's important to what I'm doing. I also know my own weaknesses. So in knowing that, that's why I have a producer to make this happen. That's why you should have a coach to make your training happen, right? Or someone to put your food plan together for you, right? Have someone. So one of the programs we run, at Hostile is a Silverback program, right? Blueprint program. Part of it is weighing in every week and measurements every month and before and after pictures, as well as the food plan to hold yourself accountable. After 12 weeks, when a lot of the guys graduate, they find it really weird not being in the group anymore. They're training more. They're super fit compared to what they started. They're stronger. They're leaner. But when they come in to train on their own, they find it very different. So I've had guys stay with the Silverback Blueprint for 1 and 2 years because that accountability, that part of the community, that content, that coachingness for them is far more valuable overall. And if that's what it works, that's what works, right? And you can sit there and say, well, I'm spending more money, but you are going to spend money. We're going to spend money on all kinds of shit. So why not invest in yourself? Get that 10X factor, right? Add up how much money you spend on booze at the bar. Add up how much money you spent, ordering takeout. Fuck, it's even easier now. You don't even have to leave the house anymore. You've got these companies now that you order from and they bring it to you. What are those companies called? What's some of them there? Uber Eats and fucking, there's another one, a Canadian one that's happening. Like, you know what? Takeout is one thing, but now we're making it even easier on yourself. It's like someone else is going to go fucking get your takeout. I like in England how they call it takeaway. We're getting takeaway. I remember the first time I heard that, I'm like, what the fuck, takeaway? What do you got? Oh, yeah, you're taking it away from the restaurant. Okay. But we've made it even easier to be fucking lazy. I don't even have to get up and get in the car to drive to the drive-thru anymore because that was too much. That was a fucking hardship, right? I can sit there, not get off the couch, keep Netflixing, right? Get my phone, get the app, order the food, and have someone deliver it from, you know what I mean? So it's crazy. And you pay a service fee for that. I think it's like $7 or whatever, or $8 or fucking who knows, right? And how many times I've seen people that they order out or go out or get takeaway, 2, 3, 4 times a week. You're spending hundreds of dollars a week, hundreds of dollars a month, thousands of dollars a year, enabling yourself to get fat and unhealthy. So don't tell me that you can't turn around and spend $50, $100, $300, whatever it is per month, getting fitter and stronger and happier and the best version of you ever. We just decide what's important to us. Every once in a while, I'll get someone who wants to train, but they're like, oh, it's expensive and stuff, that kind of thing. But you know what? A week later, I see they're on their post how they just put a down payment for their cruise, right? Or they're just taking off. I'm at the airport. I'm going to Cuba. I'll tell you what, though. You may be going to Cuba, but you know what? You're going to be just as unhappy and unhealthy and unfulfilled in Cuba than you were at home. So I'm sitting there saying, well, how about one less trip a year? Get fit, get strong, get healthy, feel so good about yourself. And then when you go to do something like a trip, you're going to appreciate it more. You're going to be able to do so much more. And you're going to get so much more out of it. Right? It's all about the why. It's all about the accountability. It's all about getting the best version of ourselves to the surface. I kind of digressed a bit on the training there. Thanks, Luke. Luke, you're supposed to we should get a little cattle prod that just jolts me every once. Oh yeah. Meanwhile, back, but that's where it went, right? The other thing I like about going back to the high reps and the pump is that you don't use as much weight. You still want to go as heavy as you can for whatever the reps are with good form. But what happens, because it's higher weight and more volume, you're getting more blood flow, you're getting more repair. The body's healing better, getting a different feeling from it. So right now, my chest is a little, as I like to say, peckish, right? Because I can feel my pecs from the workout I did. I did a really good workout, and then I threw in some triple drop sets on the incline press on the Smith machine to really just burn up the chest, shoulder, triceps. I'm feeling it, but you know what? I'm fucking loving it. I'm not crippled and I can't reach a seatbelt. But I'm like, if I had to do a push-up, I'm like, oh, Jesus, there's some scar tissue in there. That's cool. I feel, though, like I've done something. I feel the muscles. It feels alive. Yesterday's workout, we did just legs. And these aren't 4-hour workouts. None of that bullshit. I did stiff leg deadlifts. I worked 135 pounds, far below what I can lift. But I worked on a lot of sets and a lot of volume and a lot of reps. Well, I'll tell you right now, I can feel my hamstring and glutes like crazy. And it's going to be even more tomorrow, 2 days later. Right? I did stiff leg deadlift. Then we did leg press. a lot of high reps on the leg press, and then we did leg curls. That's it, 3 exercises. But my legs feel like I just beat the shit out of them with baseball bats. But that's cool. That's awesome. And what's nice when you start off and you get back into those higher volume workouts and they're shorter workouts, 25, 30 minutes, you know what? Mentally, you know that this isn't going to be an hour and a half. This isn't going to be like a grind, I'll be wanting to puke, for 45 minutes. It's none of that. I'm out of breath. I'm huffing and puffing. I'm using a weight that I can handle. The ego's put aside. I was benching the other day on my chest workout. The first chest exercise was just bench sets of 12, 225, 4 sets of 12. Anyone who's watched my benching knows how strong I am in a bench. Normally when I bench for my getting ready for powerlifting, I warm up at 275 or 315 for a set of 12. So this is well below what I can do. But you know what? It was my first big chest workout back since coming back from the meet and being sick. It had been like 5 weeks since I really benched. So going heavy for no reason wouldn't make any sense. And that wasn't the purpose. The purpose was to get lots of blood, lots of pump, thicken the muscles up, feel the muscles. Pre-exhaust with the bench and then move on to the next chest exercise, then move on to the next one. So at that point when I'm finishing, I've got 75 pounds on the bar, but it feels like it's 500 pounds. But I can do more reps, I can do more sets, right? I'm burning more calories, I'm stimulating more muscle growth. So many things are happening. And at the end of it, I feel great. The endorphin chemical rush from post physical activity is flooding my brain. Right? I'm sitting there, I'm having a post-workout smoothie because I want to recover. So all of a sudden I went from, a month of Christmas and eating like shit and feeling sick and stuff to 2 weeks now of training almost every day. Instinctively eating better because you got to have a smoothie after a workout to recover. And then what happens is my sugars are stabilized. So I'm not driving past the Max Milk or the Circle K as they're called now in Canada, craving a Choco Fantastic treat to be washed down with some Pepsi product. That's gone because the sugars are stabilized. So next thing you know, I'm coming home and I'm like, oh, let's get some hamburger meat ready. Let's get this. So it all leads into it. All the tools there. All the tools are already there. It's just we need to set up. We need to mitigate the things that took us away from that and set ourselves up for success. So that's something that's cool. And again, by recording and putting my workouts up on YouTube, it's a visual diary. But again, it's the next level of accountability. I already had 2 or 3 guys sit there and message me saying, oh, I love that workout and I'm going to do it, right? Now, these aren't 20-year-old guys. These are guys that are you guys, 40, 50, 60 years old that remember working out like that 20, 30 years ago, right? And they like the fact that it's short, it's sweet. So what I do is I record 1 set of everything, not all 4 or 5 sets. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm up to. As I get more into it, we'll start talking a bit more. I'll start talking about why I'm doing it. Right now, though, I just want to start putting some videos up. I want to get the training in. I want to get consistent. I want some accountability. And I want to help others do the same thing. Right? But all that ties in to give me better odds of success because more things are holding me to a higher level of accountability, a higher standard, and better odds of success. So right now, it's blood and guts, lots of pump, lots of reps, hitting muscle groups in a way I haven't hit in a long time, doing exercises I haven't done in a long time, because when I powerlift, I keep it pretty basic. So you know what? I'm having fun in the gym, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Here's what I'm going to work on. Here's what I want to do. And I'll be watching YouTube, and I'm like, oh man, I haven't done that exercise in forever. I'm throwing that back in for 2 weeks, right? Having fun with it, enjoying it. Short workout, it fits. It's not a big stress. Get to the gym at 9, meet up with one of my training partners. By 9:45, we're done. Perfect for him, perfect for me because he's asked to get other stuff. I have other things to do, right? And it's funny because I was sitting there in the gym the other day, earlier this week, and I had worked out in the morning. And so Mondays I'm at the gym 9 to 5, and I'd worked out in the morning from 8:30 to 9:30, and then I'm at the front counter. I'm having my smoothie. I'm sitting down, and you know what came over me? I'm like, I love being in the gym. I love being in my gym. I love being in my business. Right? But it hit me. It just washed over me. That to me is part of that coolness of when you start making the changes, you start settling in, and you're in the place you should be in life. When you start to do that more often, those are the cool things that happen. And then you change how you talk to people, how you think about things, your productivity, how you feel inside. All those things start to change. And you know what? I always tell people, for me, the magic is it comes from a workout. It comes from a little bit of sweat. It comes from burning up some muscle tissue. It comes from working hard, getting a little bit of adrenaline going, Those are the things that initiate the changes and make us want to do more, make us want to become better warriors, make us want to become the Silverbacks. Guys, that's all I got to talk about for now. Head on over to iTunes. Please give us a review and a 5-star, what do you call that? Feedback? Rating. Especially if you're getting any other. Guys, this really helps us. It motivates me. Every time, I see one, I'm like excited. I'm like, we're at 13 right now. And I see some guy who has a podcast about fucking cats and he's got 487. I'm like, well, either we keep going or we start fucking talking about cats. I don't know. Luke and I will do some planning on that overall, right? But like I said, guys, it helps me know that I'm on the right track. It lets me know that you guys are getting something from this, and that motivates me and that keeps me wanting to help you guys and do more to inspire you and myself at the same time. Head on over to Hostile Gear, guys. Use the code word Silverback to save 20%. Get yourself, this is April, so it's still probably hoodie weather. We're in Canada. Or at the very least, a long sleeve t-shirt. We've got a lot of cool stuff always coming out. And I'll talk to you guys later.